it's your Miss Niecy, and I'm here to do a review for Sistas Season 9, Episode 5. The episode picks up at the bank as Sabrina's in her office yelling at Rich, telling him that she doesn't want nothing from him, no lies, no gifts, no nothing. She's like, let me explain this to you one more time. Me and Penelope are familiar, and nothing that happened with Penelope meant something. Sabrina's like, well, why don't you familiarize yourself with the door? And Rich is like, that's how it is now. And as soon as he said that, Penelope walks in the door, and she's trying to reason with Sabrina, and Sabrina's like, what are you doing here? Get the F out of my office. Why are you even here? I think Sabrina's officially fed up with the whole Rich situation, and I'm glad she is, because I want her to be done with it. Over at the law firm, we see Andy going through it as she's hearing an inner dialogue from Jasmine, and Jasmine's blaming her for everything that happened, and we can really see that Andy's having some PTSD. I'm glad that the writers didn't just breeze past what happened to Andy and are actually letting her sit in her emotions. Andy deserves to feel every emotion that she feels, because if she kept it bottled inside, she would explode and it would not be good. Do I think she needs to talk to somebody professionally? Yes, I do. Do I think it's going to happen in this season? Probably not. Once Andy is done dealing with the inner dialogue from Jasmine, we see her focusing back on the evidence that she got with Dr. Cruz and all his past complaints and his lawsuits, and we found out that everything that happened to Karen is the same thing that happened to these women. Dr. Vaughn did say one thing right in this whole situation. He was like, it's not about what you know, it's about who you play golf with. Meaning that as long as you got all the money in the world, you could do whatever you want. It don't matter what you do. Over at the airport, we have Tony telling Danny that he quit Higher Airlines. And Danny was like, so you quit this job with all these benefits and a 401k? Tony was like, yeah, I quit it, and you were right. You said I never listened to you. Danny was like, so you chose to listen to me now? Out of everything I said, that's what you took out this conversation? Tony, please don't make it seem like she was the reason why you quit your job. No, she gave you a suggestion, and you're the one that chose to take the suggestion that she gave. But Danny's whole thing is, what's your plan now that you quit your job? Tony's like, trust me, I'm fine. As Tony's talking to Danny, the security guard walks up, and the security guard has his staff, and Tony's like, it looks like I'm being escorted out. Tony, yes, you are. It's effective immediately. You gotta go. You don't work here no more. He tells Danny that he's going to meet her at the steam plant for dinner, and Danny asks a good question. She's like, who's going to pay? Over at Karen's, Miss Lisa's talking to Aaron about how Karen's not moving and she needs to get up and move around because it's not healthy. Miss Lisa's like, postpartum is a real thing. We just need to be there for her and tell her that she's needed and Faith needs her. Aaron has an honest moment with Miss Lisa, and he starts talking about his struggles that he's dealing with the situation. And Miss Lisa's like, you don't have to hide how you feel, just let it out. I'm glad that we're starting to see Aaron's emotions with this situation, because not only was Karen and Zach affected, Aaron was affected too. So some time passes and Aaron goes into Karen's room to talk to her, and he's basically like, I need you, Faith needs you. Karen's like, I'm not meant to be a mother. Karen, if you were meant to be a mother, God wouldn't have left Faith there for you. God wouldn't put more on you than you can bear. He knows that you can handle this. It's just going to take you some time to go through the grief. Grief is a journey, and every day will not be okay. Every day will not be sunshine and rainbows. It's okay to feel your pain. Back over at the law firm, Andy's calling for Fatima so that she can tell everything that she found out. And as she's calling Fatima, she comes across the voicemail that Robin left about how much he wanted to be with her and how much he loves her, and he wanted Andy to choose him, but I guess she chose herself. And I'm like, after 40 days and 40 nights, you're finally listening to this voice. Mind you, Robin doesn't even know that Andy was kidnapped that night. So the whole time that he thinks that she's choosing herself, she's actually over here fighting for her life. Over in the conference room, as Fatima's trying to get some work done, Hayden comes in there to bother her. They exchange some words. Hayden says something smart. Fatima's like, instead of worrying about me, you should be worried about Samara. Hayden's like, it's nice to know that I can still get a rise out of you. Fatima's like, you might not want to do that, because if you keep pushing these buttons, I'm going to show you how much of a rise that you can get out. After Fatima finishes her work in the conference room, she calls Zach to check on him to make sure that he's okay and make sure that he's eating. And Zach said, I ate a donut. Fatima's like, we're not doing that. I'm going to DoorDash you some food. She DoorDashed you some food in like 5 seconds. I'm like, how did she do that? Because when I DoorDash some food, it literally takes me about 30 minutes to decide what I want to eat. Unless she has Zach's order on speed dial, then I understand that. But she's like, I need you to eat something. I need you to be okay. We need you to be okay. meaning her and the baby, and she rubs her stomach. Back over at Karen's, we see Aaron calling Pam to check on the shop and make sure the shop is running well, and we see that Pam is going through it over there. She's struggling. But it's nice to see that Pam is doing the best she can to keep the shop open and keep it running well. Then Pam gives Aaron a couple words of advice. She's like, Karen's going to be okay. She's going to come around, and I just want to let you know that you're very good for Karen. Back over at the law firm, Fatima finally comes in Andy's office, and Andy tells her everything that she found on Dr. Cruz, and Fatima's like, how'd you get that? Andy's like, I did it illegally, just like you. Fatima's like, I see what you're doing. Then they start talking about how Andy's doing and what she's feeling and the anxiety that she feels and how black women deal with anxiety every day, but they have to be strong for everybody. I thought the writers are actually shedding light on things that black women go through every day and how it affects them mentally, physically, and emotionally. And Fatima's basically telling her that she doesn't have to hide how she feels. She doesn't have to be strong for everybody. Then Andy starts telling Fatima about Robin and the voicemail that he left her and how she thinks that he's moving on. And he's only moving on because you didn't answer. I understand why you didn't answer his call, but you still could have called him back a couple days later. Even on the personal days that you... Andy's like, he was so good to me and I let him slip away. Andy, what you're feeling is you don't know a good thing until it's gone. And now that Robin's officially gone, you wish that you could have tried a little harder. Now you have to sit with the guilt of, I wish I would have tried harder, and it doesn't feel good, does it? So after they have this whole conversation about Robin, Fatima gets a call from the front desk saying that somebody was seen here by Marie Willis. Over at the steam plant, Tony and Danny finally make it there for dinner. They're having a conversation about what's next for Tony and how he's going to pay bills. Andy's whole thing is that she doesn't want to support Tony, and Tony's like, I'm fine. Just because I quit my job, that doesn't mean I'm broke. I have money. Tony's like, look, I'm not trying to hear about all that right now. I'm finally free. I'm happy mentally. That job was kind of draining me, and I'm glad I left it. So can we just talk about our relationship and where we're moving forward? Do I blame Danny for how she feels? No, I don't, because I've never seen her and Tony have a conversation about finances. So she doesn't know the type of money that he has and what he can do with his money, and if he has investments or anything like that. Danny, if Tony is the one that's saying that he can support himself, you have to trust him to take the lead on that. Back over at the law firm, Fatima finally makes it to the front desk to see who's been referred by Marie Willis. It's this basketball player who recently just got drafted, and he's not good with contracts. Turns out he's Marie Willis' godson. Marie sent him there so that he could get the contracts looked at to make sure that he didn't sign anything that he wasn't supposed to sign. Turns out he did. There's a clause in there that says, if you do anything that you're not supposed to do, we can drop you and you won't get paid for it. K-Dub is like, I thought I was signing a good deal. Fatima's like, they made it sound like that, but trust me, you're not. He's like, so they basically owe me? Fatima's like, basically, yeah. As they're talking, Hayden walks in, and he's doing the absolute most, running off this man's stats, telling how much he likes his work, and all this other stuff. K-Dub is over there trying to hype up Fatima, saying how much of a good lawyer that she is, and Hayden's like, oh, she's not a lawyer, she's just a paralegal. She don't know what she's doing. That's when Marie walks in, she greets her godson. Then she looks at Hayden, and Hayden tries to speak to her, but Miss Marie is like, I don't want to talk to you. You're the reason I almost lost my money. K-Dub is sitting there hyping up Fatima, saying how much of a good lawyer that she'll be, and Miss Marie is like, that's great and all, but make sure I don't lose my money, because I hate repeating myself, and I thought that Mr. Barnes was working on this. Fatima's like, she's going through a lot right now, so I decided to take it over. Fatima assures Miss Marie that Andy will be looking everything over. Miss Marie is like, call me when the ink dries, so she leaves, right? And it's just K-Dub and Fatima talking. He's like, you're going to make a great lawyer one day. Don't be surprised when your phone is ringing off the hook because I referred my friends to you. K-Dub wants to get everything done now, but Fatima's like, we can't. I suggest that you talk to your team first, and I have to run everything by Miss Barton, then we can work something out. Mind you, K-Dub thought that Fatima was Andy when she first walked to the desk, and Fatima's like, no, I'm a part of Miss Andy's team, but I'm not her. Then when Fatima walked away after the conversation at the front desk, K-Dub was looking at her butt. I'm like, K-Dub, you don't want those problems. Back over at the airport, Danny is getting some work done, and she's announcing the flight on the intercom, and when she's done doing that, her cousin walks in, and she's like, what are you doing? Apparently her cousin just got out of jail. He hasn't even had the chance to call his mom, but the first place he went is to go see Danny. Somehow, someway, he found out that Danny came into some money and he wants a piece of it. Just like black people, when they found out their family members got money, all they do is come out the woodworks, saying, hey fam, let me get some. Danny's like, no, I'll give you this $20 though. She's like, what you need the money for? He's like, I need some new clothes, I need some new Jordans. Danny's like, you don't need that. What you need to do is find a job. After Danny has a conversation with her cousin, Leonard walks over and he says that they're being belligerent. And Rock is like, don't talk to my cousin like that. So they gang up on Leonard. And Leonard's like, I see where she gets her belligerentness from. Must run in her family. Over at Zach and Fatima's, we see Zach sitting at the dining room table and he's drinking and he's going through his emotions and he's like, I'm tired of being strong for everybody. Everybody's telling me to man up because that's what he thinks that he's supposed to do. No, Zach, you're entitled to feel your feelings, but I don't think drinking is going to help you with those feelings. You can try to mask the pain, but that pain will never go away. What you need to do is find healthy coping mechanisms to get through this because drinking's not going to help. Zach, you know how you are when you drink and it's not. Some time passes, Zach got himself together and we see him playing a game. And as he's playing the game, he gets a knock on the door and it's Danny. And Zach is like, what you doing here? Danny's like, I'm here to check on you. They have this conversation about how Zach's doing. Zach is like, I'm not okay. I'm tired of taking these losses. Maybe I should have been nicer to Karen and everything would have turned out like this. Danny's like, what you will not do is blame yourself. You have a fresh start with Fatima and the baby that's growing inside of her. Use that as your fuel to keep going. He's like, do you see me out here mad at the world? No, I had to keep myself going. I had to keep pushing. Then Danny starts talking about her problems that she had with Tony and how he quit his job, and Danny just breathed past that because she ain't trying to talk about it right now. Then she starts telling Zach about Preston and the marriage ultimatum that happened with Mandy and how she blamed herself for that. And the whole thing with Jonah. Mind you, they're having this conversation over some weed because Danny brought over some weed to smoke. And Zach has been showering because she smells something funky. Zach is like, no, it's not me, it's the weed. Danny got real honest with him though. She's like, even though Karen's my homegirl, I had to come check on you too. And I'm glad that nobody's forgetting Zach and his feelings. Even though Karen has experienced his loss, the fathers of these babies have experienced the loss too. Even though Aaron's baby Faith is still here, Aaron is still grieving the other baby because he thought life would be different with two babies. And now he has to look at Zach and know that Zach's child's not here, but his child is here. And I know he feels guilt for that. Speaking of Karen, over at Karen's, we see her getting out the bed because she wants some water. Aaron tells her that he has water in his car, so he'll go get it. So Aaron goes to get the water out the car. Baby Faith starts crying. I know that she was going to do that as soon as Aaron left. And Karen's having an inner monologue with herself, saying that she is not good enough to be a mother, saying that she is not good enough to do this. I thought my life was going to be different. So instead of Karen picking up the baby and comforting the baby, she breaks down and cries, and she goes in the room and she shuts the door. Karen, I know that you're going through grief right now, but you also have another child to look after. I totally understand your pain. Let me know what you guys think about this episode. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on bell notifications. Bye!